Welcome back to another edition of the All Out Club podcast, joined by Dor and Nuge.
How you going?
Yeah, pretty good.
How are you, Mick?
Dor, it's been a while since you've been in the pod.
It has. It's good to be back.
And he's repping the BBLO1 Brisbane Heat jersey.
Yes. Go those Heat.
We're talking OG shit here.
Oh, we are.
Much better than the paint jerseys they've got going on at the moment.
Yeah,
It's a disgrace.
the Heat Aboriginal jersey this year was elite.
Yes. Very special.
Now, talking about cricket, boys, just had a lovely test series sweep. We got the West Indies coming up. Just to recap on the series, although it was a sweep, I wouldn't say it was our best series we've ever had.
It was good that Pakistan actually, their bowlers, while their bowlers, they didn't have a key man coming into it. I suppose what's his name was meant to be that
Afridi.
Yep. Shan Afridi. He was meant to be their key wicket taker, and he didn't really bowl that well. Whereas they found, Jamal was awesome. So they were pretty competitive, and I don't think our batting was really as good as it could have been.
Our bowling, I think everyone knows our bowling's elite, but yeah, our batting was a bit underwhelming, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we've got I guess the good thing on the batting side was Mitch Marsh, leading run scorer for the series with 344 runs.
He deserved 100.
I think that's one positive on the batting side of things that we can take away from the series. But I do agree with you both that our batting was a bit underwhelming for the series.
He had two good 90s. I think he had a few, like a 60 and a 50 not out, something like that, and then he chipped in. I don't think he failed in any of his innings. So yeah, it's good that he's gone well at 6, and yeah, I think he sort of probably saved us a couple of times from the games being closer. If Pakistan could catch.
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
One thing with Pakistan, their bowling was impressive, especially Jamal, but their batting, they had so many 50s and they just could not convert.
Yeah, and Bubba, going into the series, if they wanted to win, they probably needed Bubba Azam to average 100 or average 80.
Yeah. What I'm most disappointed in is I feel like every single touring team, the best batters in the world seem to struggle. Especially Kane Williamson struggles here. Virat wasn't that great the last time he was here.
Joe Root never. Well, Virat averages over 50 in Australia, I'm pretty sure. But Joe Root doesn't have a
100
in Australia.
There's plenty.
Bubba Azam was poor.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bubba Azam averages, I think, 26 in Australia, I'm pretty sure, which is way lower than everywhere else in the world. So
yeah,
he had so many good starts this series and just couldn't convert.
I'd say he looked good. When he was batting. He got a couple of peaches and a couple of not silly shots, but
he got unlucky.
There were subcontinental shots where you're not taking the bounce into account as much.
Yeah.
Like the way he got out, shots on 5th and 6th stump.
Yeah.
Where he was just putting the bat out there to maybe guide a ball to third man or get one through point that you just can't do.
He might be a bit overrated at Test, I'd say. His resume, I think 45 average. He doesn't have that many hundreds.
Well, the thing with a lot of these touring players that are guns, you look at the way Kohli gets out in Australia, often caught at gully. Joe Root's often caught at second or third slip, playing that shot down to third man.
Yeah.
Bubba Azam was very similar. They just don't get, they don't understand that the bounce can cause them to have an outside edge. Do you know what I mean? It's not just sideways movement. When you're playing a crossbat shot, the bounce from our wickets can cause an outside edge to
Kohli 2014, that was the perfect way to bat in Australian conditions. Him and Smudge was dominating.
I think though for on Pakistan, I think as Clancy was saying with Jamal, they've really got now found a good bowler moving forward. Not 18 wickets, one behind Cummins, who led with 19 for the series. Very impressive, and he got man of the match as well, and caused our batters a lot of grief.
They had a handy tail.
Very handy. They've got two good keepers that can score runs. They also have that, what's his name? Adoob. What's that opening bat that played in the Sydney Test? I think his name's Adoob.
Yeah.
He
Skull loved him.
But he actually has very good stats. He got a good one in that first innings, and obviously didn't go on the second. But at least they got some young guys. So if they can if their bowling unit can come up and not just be relying on one guy, and they can actually have 4 good bowlers, then their team might go. They pushed us, so
yeah.
Right.
Now, I think they just lost the big moments.
Yeah, they did lose.
And their fielding is shit house.
Yeah. Well, if Jamal doesn't get 82 in the first innings, Like they would have been in real strife.
Their fielding was probably still better than it was last time they toured, and that's saying something about how bad it was.
I have never seen so many catches hit like this. Like, what's the ball of your hand? Would you call that? You know, the meaty
sort
part
of like
of
below the
wrist?
palm. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just how so many balls keep landing on that part of their hand.
They all fielded like Timmy David.
Yeah, a little bit, and a lot of them go for the crocodile catch.
Yeah.
Shafiq, he was horrible. He was the worst
That
one of them all.
That first one he dropped in the first test, it might have been, or second test, that hit him here.
Yeah,
and it was regulation slips catch, and he just hits him
Unfortunately for the poor bloke, he was absolutely slammed on the commentary. Like,
But
he just kept on bringing it up. Oh, I hope Shafiq's not in the slip.
As soon as you see someone get hit there on a regulation catch, they're out. You can't be getting put. Secondly, do you remember in the third test, they moved the cordon around so that
Yeah, someone had to go off the field for an over, and then
Yeah.
that, unfortunately, we edged it, and the guy on debut or whatever dropped it, didn't he?
But what they were doing was they had Bubba Azam at first slip, they had the bloke on debut at third slip,
Yeah,
and then they had that guy at second slip.
yeah.
I think that was the order. And then rather than keeping Bubba Azam at first slip and moving the third slip to second slip, they moved the third slip to first slip
yeah.
and Bubba Azam to second slip. It doesn't make any sense. That does not make any. It just.
We'll move on. Now, boys, we're looking forward to the West Indian boys coming over. The squad, I'd rather say, did get announced. Smudge looking like he's going to open the batting.
Elite, I reckon. I've been saying for months, or a long time, Cam Green can't be batting 6.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the tempo for it, and I think he has a perfect tempo for number 4.
I think Green will be batting at 4.
Yeah,
I think that's perfect for him. Definitely
beautiful, because at 6, the way he bats takes him a long time to get into his innings.
Yeah, and he's a bit nervy with the tail enders.
Yeah, and also when you're a young guy, you look at your average every time you bat. You see where your average is sitting. If it's the average, if you're averaging 25, that can actually put your confidence down. Whereas if he's batting 4 and he can just play his natural innings, not have to worry about any of the tail, not have to hit bombs. Yeah, that's good for him, I reckon.
Now, Dor, you're of course very happy Marcus Harris wasn't picked.
Yes, very much so. But I guess you could also feel very, a bit depressed for poor old Cam Bancroft. I think he's leading the Shield. I think with like over 500 runs scored this season.
People are saying like Bancroft's technique's a bit sus, how he sort of falls over, but if he's scoring runs, then
well, I think if you keep integrity in the Sheffield Shield competition, you're averaging over 50 in that. That's how you say that you're good enough for Test cricket.
Yeah.
People are saying though that Bancroft should be in the team because we need to make sure that Shield cricket is the way to get into the Australian team, and that it's got its own integrity. But we're picking Cam Green over him.
Yeah,
so
he averages 47 or something.
Yeah, but I think he's been averaging like 50 something at 4, or so he's our best batsman in Shield cricket based on the numbers.
You don't think there's any politics involved?
No,
I think I wouldn't be surprised.
I think there's got to be. There's definitely still
we would
recoil.
The Australian cricket team would cop shit if David Warner retires, and then we bring in the guy who David Warner told to cheat and did the cheating.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some politics.
I guess another thing also to touch on is like Smith has come out and openly said that he wants to open the batting.
Yeah.
His form of late at 4.
He's got 100 in his last 13 innings.
He averaged about 42 last year, which is good, but
not up to his standards.
He to me, the way he's like the way he's just not necessarily the technique or anything, just the way he's going about his batting looks different.
Yeah,
he's playing weird
way
shots. Way slower, and he just used to, back in the day when he was in his purple patch that lasted like 5 years, he was just like mentally just
anything sort of short of a length or on leg side is whipping.
I think it's also as well as it's sort of the best, the best opponent and the best time to, try this out. Because obviously if it doesn't work, then we can obviously go to like a Bancroft or a Renshaw or a Caleb Jewell or someone like that moving forward. And then potentially Green might have to miss out because Smith will move back to 4.
And it's not like Bancroft, some other young guy who like will benefit from loads of extra time in the team, like someone like Cam Green will. If worst comes to worst, we can just go to an experienced cricketer who's like Bancroft, who's played loads of Shield cricket and played for Australia a few times before.
You do have a good stat about Smudge.
Yes.
Yep. Steve Smith, when he has come in the first 2 overs of a test match, averages well over 100 runs. So
Well, there you go.
he's elite.
He also does open as well in the shorter forms as well. So he's sort of got experience as well.
I reckon that stat would purely be from 2019 when Warner just kept getting out the first 2 overs.
Yeah.
Well, it's from when he was batting 3 a lot though.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of times when you lose a wicket early, but yeah, averages over 100, which is pretty good.
I'm sure Stuart Broad's very depressed that David Warner is now retired.
Did you see what Stuart Broad posted on Twitter?
No.
Congratulations, David Warner. I love my battles with you over the year. Yeah, mate. Of course you did.
Yeah, of course
You're just trying to bring it up because you had you're the better side of it.
Yeah. Now, Dor, we'll bring it back to your jersey. The Heat have seriously arrived. Is this the best we've ever been?
I think so.
By a long way.
By a long way.
In the regular season, by a long way. This team is elite.
You know what I like? We've finally got some English imports. Tall Paul, what a serious player.
He might be the best. Not some people knew about him, but he might be the best meme player that's ever come to the Heat, and there's been a lot of them.
Dan Lawrence.
I'm
thinking of people like that.
Big Lewis Gregory.
Lewis Gregory.
All these Englishmen. Benny Fuckett for a while.
Yeah,
even though he went on to have a pretty good.
He's handy. He's handy.
But I think we're going to talk about. We can talk about Bazball too.
Yeah, well, England are really missing another type of tall Paul ball.
They've gone for Bazball, which is stupid, while tall Paul ball is being played in Brisbane, and he's elite. He should be in their tour to India. He should be in all their white ball.
England will never succeed until they get Ben Folkes back in the team, and tall Paul ball is their new strategy.
They start playing tall ball.
Look, let's not get too excited here, boys. We need TP staying with the Heat for the rest of this series because I think if he was to go to play for England, he'd be gone. This would be his last game tonight.
But that's the point. We're saying England is so dumb and it's the Heat's benefit. We'll just continue to play tall ball all through the finals, and I think we'll win on the back of tall ball.
I think there is some concerns, like the test team, around our batting, but we do have those test players coming. But that death bowling we saw the other night gets me thinking, is this one of the best BBL bowling attacks ever?
It's up there. When you got Nessa bowling 2 overs every week, he doesn't even bowl 4.
Mitch Swepson
is, I think, the first time last week that he actually bowled 4 overs or 3 or 4 overs. Yeah, 3 overs because the rain delay. Yeah.
Swepper
didn't even bowl.
He's up the top for MVP, and he's not even in the team. He's been rested.
Has he been rested this week?
I think so.
I told you that would happen, and Cordless refused to listen to me. Someone.
Well, even if it hasn't happened, I think it could.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if, this potty will be before the game tonight, so.
We're going to look like idiots or intelligent men.
Yeah, well, you touch on about the best bowling attack, boys. We've got Bartlett leading wicket taker with 13. We've got TP, Paul Walter, with 10, and he's sitting in the 4 spot. Then we got Swepson with 8 at 11, and then Johnson with 7 at 14. So we've got, four players in the top 15 wicket takers for the comp.
How good is Tall Paul's celebration?
Oh, the aeroplane.
The tall ball plane. He does
Jared
the plane.
Hayne.
He does the hay plane every time. I haven't seen him take a wicket, not just like going, meow.
Yeah, he just does it straight away. And like you said, Mick, like batting, I think Heat of old, we've always had, our batting has probably been our strong point and our bowling has let us down. Yeah. Or something like, probably until maybe last year, it was always like we'd do one thing well, like we'd bat well, but then we'd bowl like tripe, like awful.
Yeah.
A couple of the players were saying that they still don't think they've put a full game together.
No, we've got Colin Munro as the only batter in the top 15 for the Big Bash with 222 runs sitting in the
If we get 160 plus, I'm backing us every time to defend it.
I've got some concerns, though, about finals. It's at fucking Metricon. Slow wicket.
What's the only team I think we're all concerned
We've been through a lot of adversity, Clint, so I think we can get through the Metricon.
The only team we're concerned by are the Scorchers. I think it might just be a Heat Scorchers final again.
Well, you can lose to anyone in T20s, but yeah, I think the two most well-rounded teams by a long way are the Heat and the Scorchers, and we haven't versed them in the regular season yet. We've got two
I think
games
it
coming up.
as well as like we touch on with the Heat bowling is like you look at we've got left arm quicks, we've got left arm TP with a bit of variation, bit slower pace. Then we've got Nessa and Bartlett right hand quicks. We've got Kuhneman left arm off break, and then we've got Sweppo like right arm left leg break.
Yeah,
like the variety is just like it's
special.
It is a like very special for Munro as the skipper to have that sort of variety.
Even Renners can bowl, Buddha can bowl. Almost everyone in the team can bowl.
Yeah,
if you're desperate. So yeah, they got all kinds.
But like
of
you said, Clance, like we're not like Nessa's hardly even bowling, and that's just due to the fact that we've got like spoiled for choice with variety that we can use.
That's due to Tor Paul as well.
Oh,
I don't think anyone expected us to use him and his 100.
What is it? Like, yeah, what is
his
like
slow balls are so
I
slow.
was expecting a meme out of him, and not like a bad meme. He's a good meme.
He's a great
he's
man.
a cult hero now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about Tor Paul.
And also, congratulations on the engagement. I saw his missus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
TikTok
big
the other day.
congrats.
Huge congrats.
He almost has the keys like Lenny once had.
I think. This might come as a big shock. He is better than Chris Lynn. For the Heat. Tor Paul. He's better. He hasn't played a full season.
He's getting more results.
We're
than
talking
Lynn
about
did.
like contractually.
I'm
as well.
talking output.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
Even though Lynn was like
Lynn's
the best
second.
T20 player I've
Yeah.
ever seen in my life. When
Still
he was,
averages the highest.
And he's
in
the
BBL.
second highest run scorer this season as well.
Tor Paul has height and he just got engaged. Congrats.
Yeah,
just
good.
sort of
I hope he's
Congrats,
listening. I
TP.
wouldn't be surprised if he isn't.
He'll be listening. He'll see this probably on TikTok.
Oh,
Yeah.
I agree.
Now, Dor.
Actually, his missus at TikTok. That's where we saw it. So she'll probably see it
exactly.
on TikTok.
We'll bring it back to Dor's attire again. He's got the Broncos hat on, repping the Brisbane teams. I saw a little pic of, and he's an antagonist of the podcast, TPJ, seen at Broncos training.
Yeah, fueling further speculation. He could be returning to the NRL. Don't know if it will happen, but
Look, we declared it in the comments when he retired, like he'll be back in 1, maybe 2 years tops.
I did see the photo and like I heard that he was at Broncos training, thinking like, oh, he's going to be in like a singlet or something. Then I just saw him there with like a bunch of kids. So
Yeah,
I don't
maroon
know
t-shirt.
how much we should read into this, but
I'm not feeding into it all.
I would not be surprised if he TPJ. He's a bit.
Well,
of
it depends how good he is at boxing.
Yeah, I honestly think if it doesn't go well, like he's too young to just give it away. I think I just think he was poorly used down in Canterbury. Look, I don't know if he'll Broncos and Dolphins were the original one that was rumored with the Bennett link, and then now he's at Broncos training. Yes, like Clancy said, just wearing a maroon t-shirt with the kids watching training. But
It's almost like he's like, oh god. It's almost like he's standing there going, oh, I wish I didn't leave.
Yeah.
Oh, can I please come
Come
back?
back.
No, Tavita. You
Yeah,
got
what have I
to stay
done?
out of the training.
TPJ would be a good tight end in NFL if he was looking for another sport to.
His prime is elite. He was like when Lolo was doing his thing as the best lock in the competition. TPJ was like replicating it almost.
That Broncos team was cool with like a young Fafita, TPJ. You just had too many personalities.
Yeah.
No one guiding him around the field.
Yeah.
I think that, like, in all seriousness, though, if he was to come back and play for the Broncos, I think it'd be good for us considering we've just lost Flegler. We've only signed, I think, Fletcher Baker as a new addition.
He's
we've
got- he's
lost
start.
Capewell as well.
One thing with TPJ, he's got to go to a good team. When he played for Penrith in that short little stint, he was elite.
He was great.
He'd start for Brisbane.
Yeah.
He'd start in at prop.
Yeah.
Which is his spot, I reckon,
And then
the
you
third
can
row.
have Jensen or whatever off the bench who was terrific last year in that role.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, boys, another former Penrith and Broncos player, Zach Hosking, news just come out, Door.
Yeah, joined the Raiders on a 3-year deal. Panthers have released him. I think it's for an NRL perspective, I think it's a great get for Canberra.
He's a gun.
He is a gun. He was averaging great numbers IRL and in fantasy last year when playing big minutes for Penrith. I don't think he's not the player that really needs a real great attack. You know what I mean? Like Canberra this season
He gets
looks
stuck
like
in.
they've got Weeks and Fogarty are going to be their halves. I don't think that's going to affect like his output or the player he is.
Well, there's concerns that Corey Hironara is going to medically retire.
Yeah.
Or maybe he already has.
Potentially, I did hear some rumors about that he was that he had medically retired, but then he came out and said that wasn't the case. But like this signing, and I'm not even sure if they've really come down to exactly what caused that horrible seizure on the field.
Yeah.
I really hope for his sake that he can play the game that he loves and continue with his career. But maybe with this signing, it just maybe leaning towards him retiring. Yeah. Unfortunately,
definitely looks that way.
But fantasy-wise, Mick, between and Clancy, I think he's a serious buy.
100% of players had Hosking and Jacob Preston in the team last year. Now guns.
Yeah, so. I just think he's like the Panthers. Like he did go because of Liam Martin injury. He was came into the side there for that period and then was able to hold it there for a little while. But then Liam Martin really started firing, and then Hoskins, unfortunately, got like he was on the bench or something like that. He's a non-base stat beast, and I think he's going to be playing 80 minutes. Like Whitehead's on the back end of his career.
Yeah,
I think that the new guy from England they've signed, I think Morgan Smithies, I think is a lock. So Horsburgh's out for the first few rounds as well.
Yeah.
I think that I reckon he's definitely a buy for fantasy.
More news: Bradman Best re-signed, big contract. Boys, how much would you be willing to pay an Origin center at your club?
I think it depends on the trajectory of the salary cap. So, like right now, what would I want to be paying Bradman Best? Like $650.
Yeah,
I think was the deal 700.
700,000 a season.
What's Val on?
Val's on like $1 million.
But that was more for him to play fullback, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah, and I think Val is still better than Bradman Best.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
especially goal kicking as well. That's
goal kicking, and he really only him and I've had a mind.
Joey Manu.
Yeah. They're really the only players that properly pop up on both sides.
I've got no problem with Val's contract at the Cowboys.
Speaking of Bradman Best, I did see him at the Burley Pav, and guess what? He won the meat tray, and I'm sort of thinking, is that rigged? That's sort of sus.
Well, how many tickets?
Because there was a girl. There was a girl with a media girl coming around taking a photo of Bradman Best and a couple of other NRL players holding the meat tray.
That sounds rigged.
We bought several tickets, me and Pitbull, and we were not happy.
I am willing to confirm that that's rigged.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually demand my money back.
Yeah. Clancy's talked to the inside sources and confirmed it was rigged.
And with all due respect, he's got a $700K contract. That meat should be going to better use.
Yeah, it's also one of the richest deals for a centre in the Knights' history.
Well, there you go.
That's
Bradman, if you're listening, I'd like a meat tray, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, just send it to us. Hit us up in the message box.
I thought we saw a lot of NRL players at Burley.
I saw a bunch of retired ones as well.
Actually, I forgot you were there.
Saw Jordan Kahu, Alex. No, this is the other night.
Oh,
Jordan Kahu, Alex Glenn, Cody Nikarima. They're all there at the Burley Pub. I
saw Sammy Walker on a lime scooter.
Yeah, that's always good.
I think also one thing also to quickly bring up, which I don't think has been discussed, it's not on the run sheet either, is with Justin Olam and the Sean Bloor. Well, it's basically a swap deal now.
It's a W for Storm.
Yeah, well, I think it is. I think it is. I agree, Mick. I think it is a huge win for the Storm. I think that if you look at the Storm side, you probably look at the forward pack and think it's lacking a little. And I think that potentially this year, I've just thought of a name, Clancy, as well for potential later segment. Jack Howarth. I think that Jack Howarth and Bloor should both be playing in the 17 this year for the Storm.
I'm concerned about Howarth. He's on that much money. I really thought he would have been playing consistent footy by now.
Look, don't really get me started
because Lalero is not that good.
Yeah, look, honestly, I've got a lot of grudge against the Storm with Jack Howarth. He got his first game last year. I went to the game, the Storm versus the Broncos. Obviously, both sides rested a lot of players. And Howarth, he was the one that dominated. He was the one that created that try that everyone talked about with Farlongo scoring in the corner. with the offload through the middle. I just think he's too talented, and the rap's been so high. I know that, Storm are known for basically being a bit slow and nurturing these players through, not rushing stuff. But I think, that you look at both Falongo and Howarth, how they played in that one game. And I just think at the times now they've got to play, or otherwise me personally, knowing how I went in that game and the potential that I have, I'd be starting to get a bit upset and potentially look to another club, because I'm sure that there'd be I think nearly every club was interested in Falongo before he re-signed with the Storm. So
he's gone. Is Falongo Victorian?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Is it Falongo? Is it Falongo?
Falongo?
I thought he might have been a Queensland.
I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
Speaking of, even though he's not Queensland, Queensland have so many fullbacks. Like Callum Ponga, Dally M.
Yeah.
Reece Walsh, one of the best players in the comp last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's early, but like Origin talk, who do you reckon gets the number one?
Oh god.
Does it purely depend on how they start the year, or do you reckon they've already sort of set someone?
I think it depends how they start the year, because you've got the incumbent versus the former incumbent who won the Dally M. So like it's all like you Ponga, I would say, was probably better last year.
Ponga has more utility.
Look, I've got
but you don't want to be moving your fullback to another spot.
Yeah, I know.
I've got the Broncos cap on. But look, I actually think that if Ponga was only not selected due to the lack of football and the issues with his concussions, I think that he was our best player in Origin 3 in 2022. I think that if he starts the season well, like you're both saying, I think that he will be the fullback, even if Walsh is playing well and the Broncos are going well. I think Walsh will probably be in the squad. I just think that potentially, like down the track, one of them could become like a utility off the.
It's just so depressing because Cleary's the best player in the world, and then I'd have probably Ponga behind him, and to not have this top 3 best player in the world in an Origin team is cooked.
Is there any world in which you drop Ben Hunt and you play one of them at utility?
Well, look, I was thinking that, but I was just like, the Grant Hunt combination is worked so well for us.
But Grant playing 80 works well as well.
Actually,
yeah, I know, but look at Ben Hunt, buddy.
Dropped
the kick.
Clancy knows how to solve this problem, and it involves 2 sides of the footy field.
Yes, that's not a bad shout. I've got this idea where, why does rugby league always have the exact same setup? Surely you could change the formation of which you're playing like a soccer team does. And we have 2 hookers, like this is just spitballing. 2 hookers either side of the field. You just have 1-7, and then when you're on that side of the field, that hooker, the open side hooker becomes a 6. And you just change.
I get that in attack, but when it comes to defense, wouldn't you have like hookers on the edge? 2 hookers on the edge.
No, you could have a 13, 2 props and a hooker, so they'd be sort of still in the middle.
And what would you do with like your interchange? Just purely middle forwards?
You'd probably have a utility and three forwards.
Well, you got to think of it as well, like that. It's actually like Hunt and Grant have both been on the field at the same time, and it's worked well.
Yeah, but that's sort of been like Hunt's in the middle.
Yeah, but
although he did play centre.
And there's also if Grant's like Clancy's saying, if like Grant's not near the play the ball, he also slides into there like at some stages to.
I'm not saying this is that's the perfect way of doing it. I'm just saying for a sport that is purely shape based, it's not like union where there's
it hasn't developed much.
Yeah, it's just it's one-on-one tackling, 2-on-1 tackling. I just think that we could be a bit more creative with how we're using the field, but obviously we may have found the optimal way.
Yeah,
of doing
like
things.
surely someone's come in and gone to like one of the coaches gone, here's what we do, and thought of that idea. And it's been shut down.
And it would be hard to change. You would need a big preseason, and
if one team should do it, it should be the Tigers. They need to do something.
Yeah. Like that would be sick if they had
Benji.
Yeah, like 2 hookers either side of the field with 2 fullbacks, and the fullbacks just slid up rather than having your winger and your fullback back to stop the 40-20s. You have 2 fullbacks either side of the field, and they just swing up and swing back. Something like that. It's thought.
I think quickly, just before we move on to the next topic, I think we just before we went on to with the Origin talk with the Justin Olam, I just wanted to bring up about that because I'm pretty sure in 2022 Justin Olam was, correct me if I'm wrong, Daily M Centre of the Year, and then last year barely played a game at all. Like there's some sort of really bad like falling out. I know that defensively, and you saw that probably in the games that he did play.
Yeah. He
A
started
bit
the
of a
year really
liability.
bad.
But honestly, I think that if Olam can get back to that form that he was in 2022, I think that it's a big purchase for the Tigers because I think like if you look at their roster, I think their backline really lacks some decent players. So I think that Olam signature will be huge for that. He'll be straight into starting center for the Tigers.
Yeah, I think so.
A real weapon, outside, put him outside Papali or Bateman, like, sheesh.
All right, so we'll talk about tennis, boys. Starting soon, Oz Open. We've talked last
Bring
week.
it on.
No Kyrgios. It's been a bit of an underwhelming. I'd say marketing's been pretty underwhelming for it.
Yeah, it's no Kyrgios hurts it a lot.
But
Very
regardless, what are we looking forward to watch?
I think
Demon.
Demon's obviously. I think everyone questioned Demon's ability to beat top 5 players, especially at Grand Slams, and do it consistently. But in the lead up, I think his form in the last 6 months has been elite. He's now 10th in the world, and
Taking down some big names, Clancy.
he has beat Djokovic, beat Zverev, but also like just the way he's playing. I reckon he's probably he's arguably the best or top 3 in defensive tennis moving around the court. But recently his offense, the offensive side of his game has come good. A lot more sort of drop shots. His serve's gone a lot better.
Yeah.
He's got a great backhand. He's a bit of a feeble forehand, but
He's young enough, thought I.
yeah, 24. Especially
Yeah.
with a lot of these highly skill-based sports as well, it takes a bit of time to...
He's been around for a decent amount.
Yeah, but he might only just be realizing his prowess now. I think the way
Potential.
the way he's attacking the ball,
He's pretty
he
weak.
needed that. But he's getting better. He's getting stronger. He's gotten a lot stronger.
That was the biggest criticism of him.
Yeah.
Of him, wasn't it?
The way he moves around the court's elite. Like,
That's
it's
what I was
like
going to
Djokovic
say. He's
2.0.
he's definitely one of the best defensive players in tennis at the moment. Like you said, Clancy, probably Djokovic, and then maybe
Alcaraz as well.
Alcaraz, from Spain.
They all move
They're
elite.
unbelievable.
Them and Demon, I would say.
Just get back balls that you don't expect.
And the way they cover, their court coverage is crazy.
I think what maybe touch on like some of the lead up with Dimitrov finally winning a tournament in a long time in the Brisbane International.
Yep.
Coming in with some good form.
Grigor.
Potentially could go well. But I think the biggest disappointment though, boys, is unfortunately the Rafael Nadal unfortunately heading home and not playing in the Oz Open. The question I asked you both is, do you reckon this is the last time? Do you think we will see Nadal again in Australia?
I think this year for Nadal, while he would have loved to play at the Australian Open, I think that the Olympics is on clay in Paris.
Yeah.
He's looking to that, isn't he?
Well,
do you reckon that he's looking at that as a potential swan song to go out?
maybe, but I just think he wasn't going to win the Australian Open. I think currently the way things stand, the only way he wins something of note is on clay. Even though he is one of the greatest ever, and you can't really knock him. But I just think he just lost to Jordan Thompson.
Jordan Thompson.
Which is obviously some good sign. He hasn't played for ages, but
Yeah.
no one expected him to do anything at the Australian Open. French Open, you never know,
Yeah.
but the Paris Olympics in the middle of the year, I think would be
How's
an awesome
his
way.
hairline going nowadays?
Very fluffy.
Very fluffy.
Yeah.
But I think it's not more just for
His
me.
trip to Turkey.
For me, it's not like the fact that I don't think I agree with you. I don't think he was going to win, but I think like he's so loved by the Australian public and everything that it's a big loss because I know a lot of people want to go and see Nadal play.
It'll save us from some cringe impersonations.
Yeah, I
at
just
least
think
this year.
he's just one of those players that you want to tick off and go and watch before they retire. You've got Federer. Even though Djokovic isn't liked by everyone, he's arguably probably one of the best, if not the best, tennis player that we've seen. But I just think that I personally would have loved to go.
I think
and
everyone
see
would have, yeah.
Rafa.
Everyone would have loved to see him. I just think that the way Djokovic will be
Oh
there.
yeah,
Yannick Sinner, I watched him play. I watched him play at Wimbledon.
yeah.
The way he hits the ball like a bullet.
Yeah.
His serve, like he is just. I think he'll be. Him and Alcaraz are going to be.
I love Alcaraz. I just love the energy that he brings to the court when he plays. I really hope he goes on to win, but it's going to be hard to beat.
I think
Joker.
Sinner in the next 5 to 10 years will go down as an all-time great.
It's great to see these good young players coming through because I think that was an issue or something that we were a bit worried about. I'd say a few years ago when, Federer and, Nadal, Djokovic, Djokovic is still going a bit younger, but, those players, and we were sort of waiting for someone to step up. It's really good to see these guys coming through and playing some really exciting tennis.
Yeah, there's Sinner, Alcaraz, Holger Rune.
Yeah.
Casper Ruud.
Yeah.
Demon.
Demons, unbelievable.
So there's some good. Yeah, there's some good.
Bring it on.
players.
Can't wait.
Back to Nadal. There's nothing more depressing than watching like a star athlete that's clearly not at 100%. I'd rather just not watch them at all because you know what they can do, and you're like, oh, if like even curious.
Well, it's just not surprising that he chose to.
Not
like
at all.
especially on hardcore. That hard on your body.
I think at the end of the day, I think Nadal really wanted to obviously play at the Oz Open. He obviously, it's not his best Grand Slam, but he does really well at like the Oz Open. And I think that obviously, like I think Kyrgios said, he obviously copped a bit of backlash, but that's Kyrgios. But like said that, he was thinking that he came back like a little too early, and that was his concern with his injury. Obviously, Nadal wouldn't want to just go straight into the Oz Open. He did have a wild card for it, but look, unfortunately, he's come back too early. It looks like, and
I wouldn't be surprised if he came here with intention to play, but anything goes wrong. The Australian Open's the most demanding.
Oh yeah,
the most like 50 degrees. 50 degrees on court temperature. I wouldn't be surprised if he came over here, gave it a crack, and went, if there's anything wrong, I'm going to pull out, and I'm just going to focus on getting myself to the Olympics, getting myself to the French Open, and just
I agree.
Trying to do that this year.
Yep. I love giving tennis some airtime. Underrated.
Yeah. It's a big thing for Aussies.
If people are still listening to us ramble, we'll finish on a nice Clancy Nugent special segment.
Oh, I'm
Top
looking forward
Clancy.
to this.
Top 5 young stars to watch this year.
Well, I'm more doing this as in they're breaking out this year, right? So they're well known, but I think this year
who's going to boom?
They're boom. Number 5, I've got a few honourable mentions: Cam Green, Falongo from the Storm, and then there's a few others floating about. But number 5, Max Jorgensen. I think he's going to be the Wallabies fullback by the end of the year. He's only 19. I think he'll be at that stage, but we've got 4 years till the next World Cup, and I think he'll be the option.
He moves seriously well.
Yep. Number 4, I have got De Minaur. I think he's improved to the point where he's a good chance at showing something. So hopefully he goes well at the Aussie Open. Number 3, Phoebe Litchfield. She's probably beaten us to the punch with her performances recently in India, but I think she's going to be possibly our best female batter ever.
Real 360 player.
Yep. Number 2 to boom in 2024, Minwoo Lee. Showed us a glimpse at the end of 2023, and I think he's a genuine chance to win a major.
Let him cook.
Yeah. Like if Minwoo Lee could win a Masters or something, that would be unbelievable.
Well, he's in the Masters now and also now on the PGA circuit, so I can't wait to watch him week to week.
Yep, he's and then number 1 in an Olympic year, I think Molly O'Callaghan, the swimmer. She's already got a world record in the 200.
Serious talent.
And a few other things, but if she wins a couple of golds in the 100, the 200, and the relays, she might go down as one of the.
Can't wait.
And
for
she's
our domination.
She's she's 19, I think. So if she can, if she dominates the sprints in the pool and then dominates with the relays, she might get.
I love our dominance in the pool. So many medals.
I love swimming.
It's so good. I
I'm just
love
keen
watching
for the
it.
Olympics.
Love the Olympics.
I'll be in Europe during that. So
yeah,
so
it's going to be great.
Elite.
Yep. One more thing, just quickly.
Yeah,
the female cricket, they really need to get more tests going. They simply do not play enough test cricket.
I agree. I think that's also coming from a lot of the players as well. There's too much white ball for me, but obviously I think it's really good. Like you look at the NRLW, like the expansion and like women's sport in general, I think it's really starting like to grow. And I think that obviously the positive feedback from the limited test cricket that the women have played, I think it's like we're moving forward. I think we're going to see obviously more test cricket for the women.
The main issue with it, I'm all for it. I'd love to see more test cricket. The only issue is, places like South Africa and Sri Lanka and all those, big cricketing countries, they're struggling to make money off men's test match cricket.
Yeah.
And
that is true.
So I think at the moment, really only England, India, and Australia could support their women through the building process of getting more crowds, getting more sponsorship and whatever.
Yep.
So I'd love to see more cricket played between England, India, and Australia test match wise. I find it hard to believe that Sri Lanka, Pakistan, South Africa, New
Even
Zealand are going to be able to
Australia's-
compete in any way
Yeah, Australia's just so much more talented than those countries as well.
per capita.
This is a stat, for example. Elise Perry, been playing Test since 2008, has played 12 Test matches.
In 300 games or whatever. I think she
Yeah,
just
and
came,
she's
or
played
301 games after last night.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, like you said, Clancy, with those other countries, like you just look at the upcoming South Africa New Zealand tour, and South Africa basically sent a B grade squad to New Zealand so that their players can play in their home T20 tournament.
Yeah,
basically
The thing
speaks
is with
volumes.
that's all just about how much money they can earn.
Exactly,
They're not earning enough money. They're strong armed into making that decision.
Yeah,
I don't see how their women's team, if we're playing 5 test matches a year against 2 good teams, are going to be anywhere near capable of even.
Well, they're probably of those nations that you're talking about. South Africa for the women is probably the best side to go with the England and India with
West Indies have some good players. But yeah, you're right there.
Like
it's a tricky issue.
Yeah, you look at the women's T20, like the WBBL, like there's a lot of South African like players like Cap and whatnot that come over and like play that year to year. So
yeah. Righto, boys, we better pull it up there. This has been a long podcast, but to be fair, we could probably go for another 2 hours. We're not doing anything.
Yeah, we could start talking about whether Nathan Lyon is a good 10.
Yeah.
Oh, not that.
Or is it Swepo time?
Or the mathematics of Chris Lynn's catching height shots.
If it hits the roof, should that be a 6 or not?
If it looks like it's, I'm with.
What were you talking? You said we were talking about some random shit the other night about the roof.
No, I was just saying if it looks like it goes 6, it should be a 6. If it doesn't look like it is, it should be a dead ball.
Right, we'll cut it there.
One hand,
we'll
one bounce
cut
off
there.
the roof.
Cut that shit.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.